Finally, we return to the Harvey Weinstein story and new revelations about the great lengths he allegedly went to in order to quash stories, silence his accusers, and intimidate journalists.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're breaking down the biggest scandals in recent memory and the jaw-dropping revelations that they unearthed.
I would never hurt a child. These are totally false. I was outraged.
Varsity Blues, Hollywood stars.
What if they're not really that good? I mean, they can do some grooving, I don't know.
Not a problem, Singer says.
But at the end of the day, by the side door, I may be able to go to the sailing coach and say, hey, this family's willing to make a contribution.
Turns out there is one school you can cheat your way into, the School of Hard Knocks. And well, at least for a time, a number of top American universities. In what the Federal Bureau of Investigation called Operation Varsity Blues, 33 parents of high school students who were applying to schools like Yale, Stanford, Georgetown, and more conspired to illicitly get their children into those schools.
The testing I knew was wrong, and I did it anyways. As I rationalized to myself that what's 10, 12, 13 kids who are good students, quality people, and this one score may screw them out of an opportunity to go to a decent school.
So it worked.
It did work.
William Rick Singer cooperated with the FBI after it became clear that he had accepted over $25 million to bribe university officials and commit fraud on behalf of these parents. But the biggest shock of all, Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, both well-known Hollywood personalities, were part of the scheme. Both faced criminal charges, with Loughlin serving a 2-month prison sentence.
I think the people I owe a debt and an apology to is the academic community, and to the students and the families that sacrifice and work really hard to get to where they're going legitimately.
The FBI failed to prevent the USA Gymnastics scandal.
Nassar was sentenced to up to 175 years in prison this week, with more than 150 people coming forward to his sentencing hearing to accuse the former USA Gymnastics team doctor of sexual abuse. But this should not be the end of the story. The problem is not just one predator. The problem goes all the way up to the top. The United States Olympic Committee.
Like with Operation Varsity Blues, institutional corruption can run far deeper and for far longer than one might expect. Take the USA Gymnastics abuse scandal, for example. Considered as the largest abuse scandal of its kind in the history of sports, it was first reported upon by the Indianapolis Star in 2016.
The standard and the expectation, if you want to win, is an environment that is rife with physical and emotional abuse. And I think this creates the conditions where sexual abuse can occur.
They revealed that predatory coaches were allowed to move from gym to gym, undetected by a lax system of oversight, or dangerously passed on by USA Gymnastics certified gyms. The disturbing scandals snowballed from there, with unethical conduct on the part of physician Larry Nassar, earning him up to 175 years in Michigan State Prison. Perhaps most troubling of all, the fact that the FBI was aware of the allegations against Nassar and declined to investigate.
We suffered and continue to suffer because no one at FBI, USAG, or the USOPC did what was necessary to protect us. We have been failed, and we deserve answers. Nassar is where he belongs, but those who enabled him deserve to be held accountable. If they are not, I am convinced that this will continue to happen to others across Olympic sports.
Sandusky, Paterno, and Penn State.
What kind of person knows about the abuse of children and does not do everything to stop it? Well, tonight, fingers are pointing at a man millions long considered a symbol of decency.
The 2011 Pennsylvania State University scandal unfortunately proves that, even if those willing to speak up in the face of injustice do so, bad actors can shut them down and perpetuate a predatory system. Reverend college football coach Jerry Sandusky, at one point the assistant coach of the university's Nittany Lions team, was indicted in November of 2011 on 52 counts of heinous treatment of minors, which had occurred between 1994 and 2009. An independent investigation determined that Joe Paterno, the team's head coach, as well as other university officials, were well aware of the allegations against Sandusky, but chose not to act.
Unless people are directly confronted with something, many times they won't report it because they want to protect their world.
Sandusky was only brought down when a 15-year-old boy spoke up.
It's remarkable. It took a very brave person, like the mom said today. She's very proud of her son because he had to stand up to this giant, this football god.
Jared Fogle's ring of abusers.
A multi-millionaire who made his fortune by being a relatable everyman has become one of the most reviled men in America. Former Subway spokesman Jared Fogle now agreeing to plead guilty to shocking charges.
The wild, perturbing career trajectory of former Subway spokesman and current convicted felon Jared Fogle, his epic rise and catastrophic self-inflicted fall will surely be studied for decades. In 1999, Fogle lost 245 pounds through a combination of physical exercise and Subway, well, subs. The media representative then enjoyed over a decade of public trust and credibility before it came to a screeching halt in 2015.
Today, Jared Fogle has been charged and has admitted to participating in a 5-year criminal scheme to exploit children.
Surreptitiously recorded remarks made by Fogle revealed a history of making predatory comments and even advances on minors. Once it came out that others involved in Fogle's charity, the Jared Foundation, had participated in further abuse alongside its namesake, the former spokesman was down for the count, sentenced to 15 years in prison and a lifetime of supervised release.
What we've learned today is the fact that he is going to be monitored, he will have to undergo treatment, and that he will also be subjected to polygraphs. They also discussed the fact that he will not be allowed any unsupervised conduct with minors.
NXIVM and DOS.
You know, you have the people, the Gandhis, the Martin Luther Kings, all those great people of the world, and, you know, I'm nowhere near that in what I've been able to achieve. Yet, in this particular case, I'm given a spotlight that is far greater than my personhood.
As long as the devious and powerful are willing to take advantage of others, then predatory organizations like Keith Raniere's NXIVM will continue to thrive. For the uninitiated, career criminal Raniere provided self-help workshops as a front for criminal activity in 1998. Utilizing exploitative tactics drawn from multi-level marketing scams, Raniere convinced a number of prominent public figures to take part, like Smallville star Allison Mack.
According to court documents, Mack lured unsuspecting women into a secret sisterhood connected to a self-improvement organization known as NXIVM. But prosecutors say it was really a sex trafficking group, and Mack's job was to find women to become sex slaves for its alleged leader, Keith Raniere.
A 2017 New York Times expose revealed the existence of DOS, which forced the cult's female members to debase themselves so as to provide material for blackmail if the truth about the group ever surfaced. Raniere's reign of terror ended in 2019 when he was found guilty of all charges against him and sentenced to 120 years imprisonment.
And before sentencing, Raniere's lawyer had asked for a 20-year sentence. Raniere did say a few words before sentencing. One of them, quote, "I do believe strongly that I'm innocent of the charges, but it is also true I see all this pain." We'll have more on this breaking story at 6. We're live outside Brooklyn Federal Court. Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Lisa, thank you.
How Bill Cosby kept the allegations at bay.
I never saw any drugs, but I would wake up completely confused, half-dressed, and knowing that my body had been touched without my permission.
America's dad, no more. Rumors about Cosby's alleged grave misconduct had swirled for decades, but they only truly came to light in 2014 after comedian Hannibal Buress made an offhand joke in an October 2014 stand-up set in Philadelphia. The joke, which Buress had incorporated into his act with little previous fanfare, kicked off a domino effect that resulted in the beloved Cosby's genteel public image being obliterated.
We went up to his bungalow afterwards. He made me a drink, and very shortly after that, I passed out. I woke up or came to very groggily with him removing my underwear.
Over 60 women came forward, accusing the Cosby Show star of years of assault, abuse, harassment, and even involuntary drugging. The most damning charge of all? The Cosby had paid many of his accusers off to guarantee their silence.
Well, there's this girl, Crazy Mary. You put some in her drink, man, she... Yeah, Spanish, oh yeah, that's really groovy, man. Spanish fly is groovy, yeah, boy. From then on, man, anytime you see a girl, what's your ass on Spanish fly, boy? Go to a party, see 5 girls standing alone. Boy, if I had a whole jug of Spanish fly, I'd light that corner up over there.
Michael Jackson shared a bed with his friends.
When you're talking about children, we met Gavin. Mm-hmm. And it was a great privilege to meet Gavin because he's had a lot of suffering in his life.
Yeah.
When Gavin was there, he talked about the fact that he shares your bedroom.
Yes.
Can you understand why people would worry about that?
Because they're ignorant.
He was the king of pop, but a series of explosive allegations from the early 1990s and mid-2000s seriously damaged Jackson's claim to the throne. In a long, torrid saga beginning in 1993, dentist Evan Chandler accused Jackson of inappropriate conduct with his 13-year-old son, Jordan. These followed several trips to Jackson's Neverland Ranch amidst a blooming friendship between Jordan and the singer.
As we sit here today, do you still think that it's acceptable to share your bed with children?
Of course. Of course, why not?
While Jackson wasn't brought up on charges, with relevant law enforcement agencies citing insufficient evidence to move forward with the case, children questioned, including actor Macaulay Culkin, confirmed that the Billie Jean singer often encouraged them to platonically sleep together.
Macaulay told the outlet he never did anything to me. I never saw him do anything. And especially at this flashpoint in time, I'd have no reason to hold anything back. The guy has passed on. If anything, I'm not gonna say it would be stylish or anything like that, but right now is a good time to speak up. And if I had something to speak up about, I would totally do it.
What Sean Diddy Combs needed all that baby oil for?
During bi-coastal raids on his homes in LA and Miami, authorities say they seized various freak-off supplies, including drugs, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
This former hip-hop mogul's fall from grace was swift, public, and relentless. And that's with good reason, especially if you ask the federal agents who raided Combs' Miami and LA properties in March 2024. Pulling on that tiny loose thread tore the whole sweater apart. Not only did the raids reveal narcotics at Combs' residences, but reportedly over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
Federal prosecutors said Sean Combs did not act alone. He had assistants, managers, security staff who would make sure that women and male prostitutes were at these freak-offs, that the hotel rooms where they were staged were stocked with supplies like baby oil and lubricant.
Predictably, Combs didn't just keep them around for household purposes. Rather, the purpose was to facilitate his now infamous freak-offs. These were lengthy, hedonistic parties, which often featured unwitting participants in adult acts. Combs stands accused of orchestrating and directing these freak-offs, and threatening those who refused to comply with career-ending blackmail.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
Prosecutors say that these were elaborately produced events, bringing lighting.
Harvey Weinstein's attempts to silence his accusers.
I appreciate the way I've behaved with colleagues in the past has caused a lot of pain, and I sincerely apologize for it.
In yet another example of wealthy elites finding out that the rules do indeed apply to them as well, prominent film producer Weinstein's storied career ended in seconds in 2017. Weinstein was accused of misconduct stretching back at least 3 decades.
According to the New York Times, Weinstein has reached settlements with a total of 8 women over nearly 3 decades. A lawyer for Mr. Weinstein says he's preparing to sue the Times, claiming the article was, quote, saturated with false and defamatory statements.
Described as the beginning of the #MeToo movement, which aims to expose abuses of power by high-level executives across multiple industries, over 80 women came forth and blasted Weinstein for his misconduct, claiming that he had used his power and influence to coerce them into unwanted sex acts. To top it off, journalist Ronan Farrow reported that Weinstein had employed private security firms like Black Cube to spy on, intimidate, and discredit his accusers.
These firms were either A, compiling information that was specifically, according to the documents that we have, designed to undermine and smear people, both women with allegations and reporters, and in other cases, were actually engaging in hands-on human intelligence tactics, insinuating themselves into people's lives using false identities.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
The Epstein list.
Prince Andrew and the former President Bill Clinton have been named in newly released court documents relating to the sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. They include associates, friends and alleged victims of the disgraced billionaire who died in jail 5 years ago. The papers relate to a case that was brought against Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Chances are you'd never heard the name Jeffrey Epstein before his 2019 death. However, if you hung around in the world of the rich and famous, then he likely would have been a familiar face. Epstein, a New York financier and broker, was arrested in July 2019 on federal charges of trafficking minors in Florida and New York. However, before Epstein could face justice for his transgressions, he was found dead in his jail cell the following month.
There are 943 pages in all, transcripts of interviews, depositions, all part of a civil lawsuit brought by one of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers against Ghislaine Maxwell, his longtime friend and associate, who is now serving 20 years in prison for crimes that she committed with him.
While the circumstances of Epstein's death remain suspicious, significant attention was paid to unsealed court documents from a 2015 civil lawsuit that listed several high-profile individuals as his friends or associates. These included Bill Clinton, Al Gore, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, Kevin Spacey, among others.
Former President Bill Clinton is also mentioned, as expected. He was known sometimes to use Jeffrey Epstein's planes to fly on humanitarian trips to Africa. But again, there is no suggestion in these documents that he did anything illegal. There are also some references to Donald Trump, and again, no suggestion that he was involved in any wrongdoing.
Which scandal shocked you the most? Are there any we missed? Be sure to let us know in the comments below.
Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.